Hello, 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 hello. You are welcome again to my channel, and I am so glad that you are here. It's an opportunity, is an opportunity to see that. Sorry, I've got a feedback. Yes, it's an opportunity to see that God has been merciful to us. We are alive again to see a brand new day. And today we have someone very special. I tell you, she is special. Number one, she's going to take us through the journey of education, all the way from nursery to tertiary, even to choosing a career. And the topic for today is choosing a career pathway. And she's so good. She's a teacher. She's an educator. She's been through it all. She's a mom who's taking children from all the way. So she's going to be speaking to you as a mom, speaking to you as a parent, speaking to you as an educator in the system, in the UK system. She's going to be speaking to us. And to crown it all up, she's a woman of the spirit. She's a pastor. So you can see what she teaches in Sunday school. She's in one package, a blessing from God to us today. So I would not take this opportunity for granted. I'm so glad that she was able to find time out of no time to be here with us. Enough of me talking. All you need to do is type in the comment down below your questions, your comments, type whatever, even accolades to say, oh, I'm loving this teaching, or whatever it is, or shower your praise, whatever it is you want to do. Just make sure you're communicating and interacting with us. So without further ado, I will call on Mrs. Kunbi Ajayi. You are welcome, ma.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for having me. It's an awesome privilege to be here. I have known Sister Dr. Bome for ages, and she has been an amazing inspiration, amazing help and encouragement to me, to my family, and even to our ministry. And so I'm really very excited to be here. Very quickly, I will just I'm not sure exactly who she was talking about the other time, but there are some part of the introduction that I think is talking about me. So my name, as she has told us, I am Kunbi Ajayi, and I work in the educational sector. I have taught for like 29 years. I'm privileged to have 2 biological children of mine and loads of other spiritual children. And I've been also very privileged to have worked through all of the different educational sectors in the UK, with the exception of the university. So when I was speaking to Dr. Bome, I was saying that I wanted this to be as down to earth. I wanted it to be as practical, and I wanted it to be as relatable as possible. So I will not be doing exactly what I do in my 9-to-5 job and using PowerPoints and all of that. I just wanted to speak from the standpoint of a parent, and also speak from the standpoint of somebody that has been privileged to have worked with young people for ages, and also speak from the standpoint of an educational practitioner. And so, because that's a lot that we want to try and cover, I've decided, so that we can kind of stay focused, I have decided that I will divide this discourse into 3 portions. So we will look at the theme and the title of the meeting, which is choosing a career. So first, we will look at what we need to do, how we need to go about choosing a career. And then we will look at, now that you have chosen a career, what next? And then finally, we will look at what if it becomes necessary for you to have a change. And so, like I said, I'll kind of nip in and out of my different role, maybe as a parent, as an educator, a trainer, and somebody that has been privileged for a huge part of my own adult life to be able to work with young people. So we will start off by saying, I want to say very upfront that whether you have a biological child, or whether you have an adopted child, or whether you are just having an oversight over a child or a young person, I want to say fantastic well done to you, because it's a very, very big responsibility that you have taken on, a very big and challenging role that for most part of your lifespan, you will still continue to do. So, and I want also to say upfront, cut yourself some slack. Most probably you're doing very well. You're doing very well. It may not look like that. It may not be panning out like that, but I want to assure you that most probably you're doing very well. There may be areas where you need to get a bit more information, change a little thing, tweak this and that, but I want to assure you that you're doing very well. I also want to say upfront that initially, as our children or the young people that we have oversight on, initially it may not look like it will work. Initially, it may not look like it will turn out well, but I want to assure you that usually it turns out well. You just need to stay focused. You need to cut yourself some slack. You need to have a positive mind, and you need to absolutely know that everybody's journey is different. That some people started earlier. The sprint does not mean that they will get to finish line before you, or before your ward, or your children, or those young people that you're taking care of. So now that is because it's I don't know, it can be very tiring, it can be very draining, it can be a time of loads of anxiety while you are trying to navigate these children and these young people to be independent and to become all that God wants them to be. So if you don't take away anything from what I have said, just know that you're doing very well. Most probably there may be areas that you need to change, get a bit more information, but you're doing very well. You need to know also that you need to cut yourself some slack. Just give yourself a pat on the back. It doesn't matter how it looks like or what people are saying, because people do talk, yes, but just give yourself a pat on the back. And also, most importantly, know that in the end, everything will be fine. It doesn't matter how it looks like. So let's just quickly dive in. We want to start with choosing a career. Now, the place that I usually want to start with is looking at a fish and a lion. Now, usually fishes, they are aquatic animals. Lions, they are terrestrial. And so these two living organisms, they have, particularly if you are looking like at a fish like the whale or the shark or the dolphin, they are very quick-spirited, they are very fast, and they are very fierce and feisty. So, but if you look at these two living organisms, they do their best. They work at optimum, they work at potential when they are in their natural habitat. So what that means is that if you were to put a dolphin in the ocean, or a shark or a whale in the ocean, they are moving very fast, extremely fast. If you are to put the lion or the leopard or the jackal in the forest, they are very spirited, they are very fast. But take, for instance, if you remove the dolphin or the whale or the shark and you put them on the ground, they will not move at all. And if you keep putting them in that space, give it a couple of hours, they will die. The same thing if you take a lion or a jackal or a leopard that is usually very fast, you go and throw them in the ocean. They can't move. Even if they move, they are struggling. And give it a couple of hours at the max, they will die. It is the same story with choosing a career. For us to choose a career or to help our children, our wards, or that young person that we have some oversight on their lives, we need to remember the lion and the dolphin. we need to remember that you have to put square pegs in square holes, round pegs in round holes, so that they can work at their optimal value and so that they can be the best that they are created to be. So that being said, we want to now start to look at how you can make sure that the lion is in the jungle, the dolphin is in the sea. How and what you need to do to ensure that that happens, because that is the very basic information we need to get about choosing a career. Now, in the UK, education is very important and very paramount, not only to us as parents or adults, but also to the government. And so the government of the UK has put a lot of things in place to ensure as much as it's possible to give the child or the young adult the best education there can be. So the very first thing that I want to talk us through is, you see, when you want to build a house, you don't start from the roof, isn't it? You have to start from the foundation. So we want to look at what is the journey, because you just don't wake up one day and say, I am choosing to be a doctor, I'm choosing to be a driver, I'm choosing to be a chef, I'm choosing to be an accountant. It is a journey, just like it was a journey for the dolphin to be born in the sea, and the leopard or the lion or the jackal to be in the jungle. So the very first thing that I want to say, whatsoever it is we want our young people, our children, wheresoever we want them to end at, has to start from the beginning. So the beginning of the educational system in the UK is the nursery. And so usually the child will start the nursery between ages 3 and 4. Now, I can talk about my personal experience. We came into the UK when our children were quite young. My son was around 10 years old, and my daughter was around, I think, 8. So my son was going to primary 5, and my daughter was going to, I think, primary 3 and 4. And both of them, they are kind of through with education now. But I remember very clearly that before they started school, first they were going to a crèche, and then they started the nursery, and then they started the primary school. The first thing that I want to say to us, don't wait till your child gets to the nursery before, obviously, you have to start educating them. You have to start to look at the neurosensory kind of education. You have to look at kinesthetics, the kind of way they like learning. Start to use opportunistic moments to teach them in an informal environment. Start to build up their academic values. Start to build up their reading culture. Don't say that because they are young and they are still 2 or 3, they cannot learn. Even a fetus can learn. So begin to put structure in place. Don't allow them to just grow up like weeds, doing anything and everything they just want at any time. Kind of put a structure. I'm not saying we should just overburden them and make them academicians at 3 years old, but I am saying from the very beginning, you put that structure. Let them know that it's not all play. There should be a time to just scribble something, a time to just watch something that is educational, and then you're asking them about what they have watched, because that is also learning and education. So once the child leaves the nursery or the crèche, the next stage of education is the primary school system. And in the UK, we have different types of primary school. We have faith primary school, we have independent primary schools, and then we have mainstream primary school. And mainstream primary school, they are government funded, government controlled primary school, what the average person would call a public school. And I need to say very emphatically that those schools, 90% of them are very, very excellent educational system. And I can say that because I have worked in those places. So we have faith schools. Those are schools that, yes, the government still have oversight on them, their day-to-day running, but their ownership is usually one Christian and sometimes a Muslim organization. And finally, obviously, we have independent schools. They have fee-paying private educational facility. I need to say very clearly that I want to say it with carefulness. And we desire different things for our children. And I'm not by any means saying that if you have the means, you should not send your child to a private institution. I'm not saying it's not good or expedient. I'm just saying you should know that the reason why you are sending your child to a private primary school or secondary school, as it were, should not be because you think you're going to get a better education. Not necessarily. Because even if you send your child to Eton or you send your child to the most fantastic private institutions in the UK or in the world, if you're not doing your bit, still it will not show. So once the child
sorry to stop you there. I just wanted to check, because some people say, oh, actually it depends on the area you live in the UK. Is it dependent on area as well where you get those schools? Because some could, like I know some people will relocate to like 5 miles away just to get into a good school. So what do you think about the environment or the location in the UK? Is it dependent on good schools?
What I will say is that, like everything in life, you have to be intentional. You have to know what you want. Particularly, you have to have a trajectory for your child's life. And that trajectory that you have for your child's life will inform all of your decision for the next at least 21 calendar years. So what that means is that where you will live, where you will stay, your environment has to be conditioned at least wherever and whenever it is possible by that vision that you have for your child's life. So what that means is that we have different boroughs, different areas in the UK. And the beauty of the United Kingdom is that you can get all of the information that you want about education. And there's something that we call the schools league table. So if you're living, for instance, in Romford, you can bring out the school league table in Romford, whether for primary or for secondary school. You can see the schools that are doing well. You can see the schools that are passing Ofsted inspection. Ofsted is the controlling body for the educational standard in the whole of UK. So you want to find out whether that school is outstanding, whether it is good, or whether it requires improvement, or whether it is in special measure. So when you have found that out, particularly if you're a young person, you have a chance. Unlike us, we didn't have that chance because obviously our children, we brought them into the country. But if you're a young person or you have just gotten married and your children, they are yet to start this level of education, then you can get that information and decide, at least wherever it is possible, to locate to the kind of school that is in confluence with the kind of dream and vision that you have for your child. So for instance, I live in a borough that is known as Thurrock. In Thurrock, you can get good primary schools, but you cannot get a lot of good secondary schools. In fact, when I say good, I'm talking from my own viewpoint. We wanted our children to go to an outstanding school. Outstanding means that it ticks all of the boxes: academic performance, environment, quality of teacher, behavior, and results. So if you're the kind of parent that You know, it's not every Christian or every Muslim that wants their child to go to a faith school. For instance, we didn't want our children to go to a faith school. That's a discussion for some other day for various reasons. So if you don't want your child to go to a faith school, particularly if you have a male child, then you might be thinking of, that's my considered professional opinion and also my opinion as a parent. If you're living in Thurrock, you might be considering maybe moving to somewhere like Unchurch or Upminster or Rumford. Or if you must stay in Thurrock, don't stay in some areas in Thurrock. For instance, I was very clear about it. I personally will not allow, and I'm not saying this to bring down anybody that is living anywhere. I'm just talking about myself because obviously that is my area of specialization. I'm a teacher. I did not want our children to go to school in a particular place in Thurrock for all of these reasons that I have said. So the bottom line is that when you want your child to be educated, you can click. Take for instance, I stay in Thurrock, I stay in South Ockendon. I can just go on Google. What are the primary schools 5 miles away from me? That's a school that the child can trek to. Now, the Google will bring out the schools, and then you can just type, what is the ranking of that school? It will bring it out. What is the Ofsted report of that school? It takes less than 3 seconds. And you can find out you will find out if there has been a child that has been kidnapped in that school, if there has been a teacher that has had professional misconduct, everything and anything about that school, you will find out. And then that will help you to make your decision. So bottom line is that you have to be intentional about what you're doing. If you're living in like Thurrock, that like I said, look at the area before that child gets to primary school age, or even when they have, sometimes we take some decisions because we don't know any better. So maybe your child is already going to a school that you didn't know, because a lot of us as parents, our children just go every day, come back, and they do their own work and all of that. And every year they are moving on. We don't even know whether the school is good or bad or outstanding. Maybe now you go after this program and you discover that, oh, this kind of information that I've gotten about my child's school, I don't think I want this child to continue here. Then there's still something that you can do. So you need to start to find out, what school do you want your child to go to? Where is that school? If you're not living in a place that is your own personal apartment, if you're still renting or it's not a house that you have bought, then there's still hope. All that you need to do, particularly when you want to do it around this time. Do it when the schools are breaking over for the summer holiday. So try to find another house close to where you want your child to live in, because the school spaces for primary school and for secondary schools in the UK is by catchment area. So what that means is that I can't be living in Thurrock and expect my child to go to a school in Upminster. They will first give parents and children that live in Upminster a chance to have the school spaces in Upminster. If there are any leftovers, and usually we don't have many for very good schools, then they will consider somebody that is living in Thurrock. So once you have found that primary school that you want your child to go to, around July, start to look for the house around June, thereabout. Make sure you move around July or by the time the school breaks off. And then once you have moved to that new environment, you need to send a letter to the council and say to them that I was living in so area, but now I have moved to this area and it's not going to be convenient for my child to be schooling where we were living before. Now, it could take some time because they will need to wait for a space to be available before they can get a space for your child. But in the end, they will get a space for your child. So that's one way of looking at that. Now, once the child has got into that primary school, whether it's a faith school or an independent school or a mainstream school, the child obviously is going from primary 1 to primary 2. I need to say to you that don't fall victim of the UK educational system. In the UK, no child repeats. So every child is promoted. And you as a parent, every year you're smiling, oh, my child is in year 2, your child can be in year 4 and is still doing the work of nursery inside of that year 4. But because that's the way it works in the UK, we give students the work they can handle. So that the child is moving to the next class does not mean that the child is actually progressing academically. So what you need to do as a parent is that you have to monitor. Now, government will not do that for you. What government needs to do is to pay people like myself, make sure that we have the qualification, come to school, teach your child, give them homework. We don't abuse them. We don't put them in danger, But and then we make sure that we send a report to you. Now, that report is your duty to read it and understand it clearly. If you don't understand it, it's your right to go back to school and say, this bit, what does it mean? Because in the UK, we do what is known as leveling. Our children, they are put in levels 1 to 7. Some schools flip it over, but usually the higher number means that your child is doing very well. So take, for instance, if your child is in year 4 and you see in any of the subjects, they write 2, 1, or 3, your child is actually in nursery. Your child is not doing well at all. So once you see that kind, then they will say in your child's report card, they will put a number for effort, and they will put a number for achievement, and they will put a number for behavior. Now, for achievement, effort, and behavior, again, is the big number that counts. If you are saying 3, then it means your child is doing well. If you're saying 1, it means your child can be Albert Einstein, but he's not putting in the work. If you see 1 for behavior, it means also your child is a little angel. I don't want to say the converse. So you need to look at all of those reports particularly in the primary school. For everything your child does, they are going to measure it against the national average. So in the UK, generally, government expects every year 5 students to be working at a level 5-6 in their English. What that means is that the average student in year 5 that is not doing well at all, does not have any support at home, is not very smart, government expects them to be working at a minimum of 5. So if you have a dream of an academic career for your child, and your child is working at 3 and 4, that is big time trouble. You need to start to do something about it. So that being said, once your child is in from the very first day in school, you need to monitor the assignment. Don't say, oh, my darling is tired. Your darling knows how to use the computer. Your darling knows how to use the iPad. Your angel is sitting on the computer and the television, watching Peppa Pig and all of that for hours. Your darling will never say, Mom, I want to sleep, when they are enjoying themselves. The only time your angel and your darling starts to complain is when you ask them to do their homework. So make sure that your darling and your angel is doing their work. Once they get to year 3 or tops, year 4, then you need to decide what kind of secondary school you want them to go. Now, again, you have to be intentional about the secondary school, because if there's anybody that knows a child best, is the parent or that adult that is constantly around that child. So by studying your child, you will start to know their giftings. You will start to know their interest. You will start to know their strengths and their weaknesses. So take, for instance, and all children are not the same. Please, if you forget anything that I say, remember that all children are not the same. Even children in the same family, even twins are different. And it doesn't necessarily mean that one is better or smarter or have a better futuristic outcome than the other. It just means that we should tailor their pathway according to who they are. So once they get to year 3 and 4, you want to decide which kind of secondary school you want them to go to. Again, in the UK, we have different types of secondary schools. We have mainstream, we have independent schools, we have specialist schools, we have special needs schools, and we have faith schools, 5 schools, types of secondary schools. And also we have selective colleges. When I say colleges, secondary schools. So we have basically like 6 types of secondary school. You want to decide which one you want your child to go to. Now, all of these schools that I've mentioned, because they are under the direct oversight of the government, 90%, or let us be conservative, 80% of them are actually very good. What that means is that if you do your work as a parent, like my son used to say, if you don't outsource your responsibility as a parent to government or a nanny, or what is that thing that we parents do? Tuition. You know, we do tuition. If you don't outsource your parenting to your tuition, whosoever, or the government, your child will perform excellently well in any of these schools that I've mentioned. But that being said, every parent have different kind of dreams and aspiration for their children. So let's assume that you have decided that you want your child to go to a mainstream school that is government controlled. You don't want to pay any fee, but you want your child to go to a selective school. Selective schools in the UK, we call them grammar schools. And grammar schools, they are extremely academic. So there is a particular kind of examination. If you are from my side of the world, if you're from West Africa in Nigeria, when we get to primary 6, there's something we call entrance exam. I think that time they also call it G2 or G4, G something. So you have to take that exam before you get to the secondary school. So in the selective school, you have a similar kind of exam that is known as 11 plus. Now, the beauty about 11 plus is that if you want your child to, if you have discovered that your child is a kind of child that does very well with assessment that is based on examination, extremely academic examination. What that means is that from year 3, 4, and 5, when the national average is 5 or 6, your child is already working at a 7 or 8. It means that child is very academic. Then you need to start to prepare that child for the 11 plus exam. Usually that exam takes place the 3rd week in September. I think this year is September the 22nd, I think. And then the result comes out in October. And then that child will be put in one of the grammar schools that is close to their catchment area. And that exam incorporates English, maths, what is known as verbal reasoning. And that's why you need to prepare that child separately, because verbal reasoning is not taught in the primary school curriculum in the UK. And also the content of the exam. They will do the exam in year 5, towards the end of their year 5. The content of the exam is sometimes almost at par with their first term in year 7. So your child will need to be extremely good, and you need to prepare your child ahead of time. It's not the kind of exam you can prepare the child for in a year. You have to have started latest by year 4. I need to say also that your child does not go to grammar school or does not want to go to grammar school. There are some children, they will say, like my son did the exam for 11 plus when we came in. He did the late one and we prepared him in just 3 months and he passed the exam. when it was the turn for my daughter, she told us at age 8, she said, Mom, I will not do this exam. I cannot pass the exam. So we said to her, don't worry, just give it your best. If you don't pass, then we will allow you. We just want to give the both of you equal chances. The girl went, I won't pass the exam. I don't like the exam. But we still went ahead and prepared her. And indeed, she did not pass the exam. So on hindsight, if I have the kind of information that I have now, I wouldn't have wasted my time and my energy and the girl's time to prepare. So if your child says that, I don't want it, I don't like it, I don't want to do it. Don't say that everybody in my neighborhood, they go to 11 plus and they go to grammar school. It's only people that goes to grammar school that goes to Eton and all of that. No, she didn't go to a grammar school. And I want to say with humility that she did extremely well. So once you have decided, we are still looking at choosing a career. So we have left nursery. We have left the primary school. We are in the secondary school. Now, if you remember, even the secondary school, if it's not a selective grammar school, you still need to be careful what kind of secondary school, because we have what is known as specialist secondary school. That is, government will fund an aspect of education and they are very interested. They are putting resources in that aspect of education in that kind of secondary school. For instance, and that was because I didn't know better when I came into the country. Our son went to a specialist media school. Now that was an error. We picked a secondary school because it was close to the house. That was serious error. Please don't do that. And we had to clear the mess for a long while because, number one, our two children, they were very academic. When I say academic, I don't mean necessarily that they are smart. I mean, thank goodness, and smartness is relative. So let us be careful with the use of words. When I say academic, I mean that they react well to assessment that is examination based. So they weren't, as it were, interested in media and drama. So we shouldn't have taken my son to a media specialist school. It confused the head of the boy, and we had to reset his head for a couple of years. So you need to, we have mathematics specialist school, English specialist school, we have sports specialist school, and we have what we call comprehensive schools where they just teach everything the same. So once you have decided, and we have independent schools, that's schools that you have to pay a fee, and some of those fees, they are very big amount of money, but it's worth it if that is what you want and you can afford for your child. I need also to stress again, and if you have been doing the same thing for 29 years, even if you are doing the wrong thing for 29 years, I think after a while you will learn how to do it well. I want to stress, particularly if you're a parent that is of African descent. Back in Africa, for most of us, for most sides of Africa, for you to get good education, it has to be private. I want to tell you it is not like that in the UK. So please have that behind your mind. So we're still looking at choosing a career path, the first part. So once your child is in the very first year of the secondary school, year 7, the same thing you did when they were in the primary school, every midterm, they are going to give them report cards. Read it, understand it. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait till your child has started having behavioral problem and they end up in where we call PRUs, public referral units. Don't wait. Once behavior is not up to scratch, it will definitely affect performance. So when your child comes back to the house, I know we are all busy. I don't know about you. Sometimes 24 hours is not enough. But please take time. Look, there's something we give them. Every school in the UK gives that to a child. We have what is called planner. In the planner, they will, now all of that has gone electronic. Every parent have access to the portal, the VLE, virtual learning environment of their child's school. If you don't have yours, ask the school. There, once you log in, it will tell you the assignment, how your child is behaving, everything. If you don't understand, make a call. Get an appointment with the tutor, with the learning coach, with the principal, with the head teacher. Find out. Don't stay in the darkness. So make sure you're measuring the improvement of your child. Don't just be satisfied every year. My child is in year 7, next year is in year 8, next year, because once your child gets to year 11, which is the GCSE class, your child will do the GCSE examination, and that is the upward trajectory to where your child may end up for a long while. So once your child is in the GCSE class, now we have different types of GCSE. Your child can be in GCSE class and your child is actually doing year 9 work. You don't want that to happen, because what that means is that when your child does the GCSE, you may be clapping. When your friends ask, how was the result? You're saying, my child did well, he passed. Because in the UK, the grades that are passed for GCSE is grade A to D. So if your child has A, B, C, or D in any of their subjects, they have still passed. In fact, it's not A, it's A star, A, B, C, and D. And then they have changed that one to numbers now. So we have numbers 1 to 9. If your child has 9 to 4, your child in the UK has still passed. But the problem with that is that once your child finishes their GCSE, then you now have to determine, and thank you, Sister Bumi. She has put what all of those numbers means. Now, if you look at the bottom, once your child has gotten their result, if their result is anything below C, even though in the UK, D is still a pass, they will treat their result, their progress will be as if they are repeating their GCSE. So what that means is that usually, once a child passes GCSE in the UK, they will usually, by law, they have to go to the college. Now, inside of the college, we have very many things. We have very many faculties, very many provision, very many products that we give our customers, who are the young people and their parents. But if your child in their GCSE has anything less than a 4, even though a 3 is still, inverted comma, open and close, a pass, what will happen is that when they get to the college, they are in the college, but they are actually repeating their GCSE. And that will bring me to what happens in the college. In the college, we have different kinds of provision. In the college, we have the 6th form, which is where a child that is very academic, and I've explained what I mean by academic initially, will go to. We have BTech, we have access, we have foundation, and then the BTech is in different levels. So if your child finishes with anything less than a 4 in their subjects, when, number one, they cannot go to a 6th form, they will have to do BTech. And BTech is the equivalent of sixth form. BTech, 60% of the provision is coursework, and they are expected to spend 2 years. Meanwhile, for your sixth form, it's also 2 years. 100% of the assessment is by examination. But if your child has lower than a 4 in their subjects, they have to do a BTech, and they will not start with level 3. Level 3 is the one that you do 2 years with. Because they have gotten less than a 4 in a lot of their subjects, they will start with level 2. And level 2 is actually GCSE. Now, I want to quickly pause because we are looking at choosing a career path. Now, whenever I have the privilege to speak about choosing a career path, I always remind myself, I remind parents, I remind adults, I remind educational providers of 3 things. I never forget to remind them about the ABC of choosing a career path. 1, A is ability. B is the benchmark for success and fulfillment, and C is the career. Now, these 3 things, they are intertwined and interwoven. So the very first thing that you want to think about when you want to determine or choose the educational facility or the educational pathway that your child or that young person wants to take is their ability. You know, I just said to you that we have 2 children. My son did the 11 plus. My daughter said she will not pass. We encouraged her to do it. And like she said, she won't pass. She did not pass. So the first thing that you need to think about, what is the ability of that young person? And ability is continuously evolving. A child that started out in the primary school, not being academic in the sense that I've explained it, can leave the primary school and get to the secondary school. Or sometimes we have the young people that we call late developers. They may not even become academic till they get to the uni. And that does not mean that that child that from the beginning was academic will do better ultimately than that child that took their time. So per time, per educational ladder, you need to watch for the evolving ability of your child or that young person. So ability is very key. Don't force a child that does not have ability for academic subjects. When I say academic subject, that does not mean that there's a subject that is you can throw away. Academic subject means subjects that in the end will if that child continues in that pathway, they will end up being professionals. But we do have children that started out not being interested in academic subjects, that is, subjects that they are majorly assessed by exams, and they change their minds. Take, for instance, our own daughter started with the sciences, just like my son. By the time she got to GCSE, I want to say very carefully that she did well. Let's put it that way. I meant to say she did extremely well. Now, when she was in her year 11, she called myself and her dad, and she said, "This your science subject has to end now. I am not going to do the sciences." By which time we have the kind of information we had now. And so we said to her, "That's fine. What do you want to do when you get to college?" And she said to us she wanted to do the social sciences. She picked economics, psychology, maths. And then we said to her, just so because you must still leave a chance for that evolution of your child. We said, just in case you change your mind, just put biology. And the girl said, "I will not change my mind. But because it's not hurting anything, after the first year, if I find that I'm still like that, I will drop your biology." And indeed, she dropped the biology. So again, we need, what I am stressing is that we need, when we are talking about ability, sometimes ability is also evolving. So you need to look at the ability of your child before you tell them, when you get to the college, go to the sixth form. If their ability is not extremely academic, you're going to stress them. You may decide that, oh, this child is not reacting well to examination-based assessment, so let them do the BTech. And I need to say, BTech is not inferior to sixth form. There's nothing you can do with your sixth form that you cannot do with your BTech, including medicine. Or you can find some children, unfortunately, not unfortunately, it's just that it's unfortunate, so to say, maybe they just got caught up with being young, they made some poor choices. They decided that after the secondary school, I don't want to go to the college. And then they spent a couple of years working, or just, young people just perambulating, trying to find themselves. And that does not mean that's the end of their lives. 9.5 cases out of 10, they find themselves, and sometimes they even do better than the people that found themselves initially. So don't lose hope. They will be fine. So let's assume that this individual, this young person, was finding themselves up until they are maybe 18, 19. Then they will not be able to go to sixth form or BTech by law. They may have to do what we call access to education, and they will do 1 year and then they can proceed to the university. So we want to look at the B. The B is, what is the benchmark for fulfillment and success? That benchmark for you to pick the pathway has to be the benchmark for the success of your child, not your success. The fulfillment of your child, not your fulfillment, not trying to live your life through them. Don't say that, oh, for instance, in my own family, both extended and nuclear, we come from a long list of what my children call high achievers, mad achievers, as they say it. Everybody is always passing and passing extremely well. Now, don't say that because you're like that, or maybe you come from a long list of people that went to sixth form, all of that, or a long list of people that were doctors and lawyers. Don't measure their achievement by that. If that child, even if the child has an ability to go to the sixth form, but the child will not have fulfillment, I will not succeed by going to the sixth form. Don't say everybody in our family has always gone. Don't do that. Don't do it, please. I promise you, you will cry bitter tears. And if you're a Christian, God will not be able to help you because it will be intentional sin. Don't do it, please. So make sure that the pathway is tailored to their ability, is also tailored to their fulfillment, is tailored to their success. And finally, you are looking at the career. What career does the child want to be involved in? Don't say, please, that nobody in our family has been a journalist. Don't do that. For instance, I remember when our daughter went to the uni to read economics, and some people from Nigeria called to find out about our progress. And then they were saying, what course is she reading in the uni? And I said she was reading economics. From the other line, I could see the way they were pitying me. They felt that both myself and my daughter, we have not succeeded. And one person actually said, what will she do with that? What can she do with that? And I promise you, she's doing extremely well with that. So we need to just go away from, I don't want to be disrespectful from all of this nonsense. So don't find out the career that the child wants to do, particularly if the career is something that will give them fulfillment and allow them to be able to be independent, earn a living. It doesn't matter whether anybody in your family has not done it. If you're a Christian, as long as the career will not make them to sin, even if it will make them to sin, if they are still insistent on doing it, pray about it. Don't guilt trip them. Don't abuse them. Don't browbeat them. Don't pressurize them. Don't bully them into doing what they do, because you will have a very unhappy and unsuccessful adult. And once they are finished with the college, then they will go to the uni. I will pick up a bit of speed now. Once they get to the uni, we have different types of uni. And once I speak about the uni, that means we have taken care of choosing a career, and we'll go to what will you do? How will you start the career? So once they get to the uni, we have different types of uni. We have gold plate uni, we have sorting course, we have ancient unit, we have red brick unis, we have Russell group uni. Whatsoever uni your child is going, what I would suggest that you do for you to pick the uni, don't pick the uni that you have gone to or you want to go to, or all the members of your family have gone to. They don't have to go to Cambridge if they don't want to go to Cambridge. They must not go to Oxford if they don't want to go to Oxford. That might be your dream, but that may be their nightmare. If you send them there, they will not do well. We have had children that were forced to go to Oxford and Cambridge, and sadly, they took their own lives. So don't force them. What should be your yardstick for determining is that first and foremost, find out the kind of uni they like. I remember when our son was going to the uni for the first time, he said he wanted a uni that was modern. The structures are, according to him, epic, new. We wanted him to go to a Russell Group University. In the end, we got an in-between that was still Russell, but was not ancient. You know, ancient means they were built in the 1st century. I want to tell you that it did not end well. Because in the end, even though he accepted the midway, he came back after 3 months to tell us that, Mom, Dad, I'm not going to that place again. Listen to why. I hate the building, because when he went to do the visit, the place where he did interview was the very big and fine place, but the place where he was taking his courses was the old place. So he came back after 3 months and £10,000 later to tell us, I don't like the buildings. I hate the accent of the people, and there are very few Black people there. And I want to tell you, we didn't have a choice than to move his uni. And when he was in the place where he liked the building, he liked the accent, he liked the environment, he came out tops of his class. So you need to think about these things when you are choosing the uni. Don't choose the uni you want to go, and don't choose the course you want them to do. You can, from a very young age, make them to be informed. Let them make informed choices. If you feel that they are veering up the road, don't force them. Just give them information. Oh, this thing that you have said, it's a good thought. It's a good place to start with, but I would suggest that you go online and find out, when you finish with this course, this is the amount of money you'll be earning. Do you think you can have the kind of life you want? Don't say, you will end up selling in Tesco. Don't say that. Don't say that, you will be a never, you know, Black boys, they don't ever do well. Don't say such nonsense. I'm sorry to say. Whatsoever it is you pronounce on your children, they have a sneak way of coming to pass. If you say your child will end up, they will end up. So put those things in mind in the choice of the uni, make sure they go there themselves. When my daughter was picking her uni, she said she wanted a uni that was top 10 in the country and top 100 in the world. She also said that if that uni does not have a lot of Black people, she will still not go. So we had to go to a uni. When we got there, I followed her. The first question I asked the admission person, when they told me, I still did not believe. I still went online to make sure that is the truth. What is the percentage? She said, I don't want only Black people. I want Nigerian people, so that when I crack a joke, they can understand why I am laughing. So we found out the percentage. She said, I don't want a uni that the bed will be smaller than the one I have at home. Can you see what is important to young people? Is that important to you? Do you care?
Oh, so humorous.
So when we got to the uni, we weren't, the first thing, I wasn't even interested in what the UCAS point, what grades. I said, I must see the hostels. That may see it is as big as the bed in school. And luckily enough for us, the lady that was taking us around was a Nigerian girl. The girl said, ha, oh, mama, worry, that is, don't worry, we are many here. And she fell in love with the uni. And I tell you, as usual, once you put square pegs in square holes, by default, success is automatic. So those are the things that you want to think about when you are choosing a career pathway. We have dealt with choosing. Now that the child or that young person is in the uni, how do they enter? How do they start to function in that career pathway that they have chosen? Take, for instance, please do excuse me 1 second. It's kind of hot in. Take, for instance, when our daughter wanted to read economics, obviously she did due diligence. She found out the kind of places she can use an economics degree to work in. And she told us immediately, she said, though investment banking pays the best, she said, I don't want that kind of life. So she said, I am not going to be applying for any role that is investment banking. I can do finance, I can do banking. And if it is banking, I don't want any career that will have a lot of data and statistics. What are we talking about? Once you have chosen your career, you want to enter into that career. So what can you help your child or that young person to do so that they can fit into the career that they want for themselves? So like the example that I was giving, what we started to do from our very first year in the uni, in fact, not from our first year in the uni, from the time that she was in our A-levels, we started allowing her to do what we call work experience, internship, volunteering, so that we wanted to give her a broad base to compare, because like I said, young people, they keep evolving. By the time she got to our second year, she was still saying the same thing. So from our second year, she started to apply for roles in the area of her interest. She did that up until she graduated. She didn't get any. And so I would suggest to you, you need to start that young person. Don't say that they are still in their first year. From the time they are in the college, let them start to relate with the career prospect of where they see themselves ending up. And by the time she graduated, she kept on applying, and she's in a role that she's enjoying now. And thankfully, it's a role that can make her to stand very solidly on our 2 feet. I need also to say that we have to also tell our young people that in the UK, it's not so much as what you read, but that you should have transferable skills. What that means is that except for some professions that they are fixed. For instance, if you go to the uni to read medicine, you have to study medicine. If you go to the uni to read nursing, it's either you are practicing as a nurse or you are lecturing. But all of the other discipline, you can transit to other occupations. What we must ensure that happens is that, one, make sure that that child is going to the uni where they can thrive. Because if they go to the uni where they can thrive and they are doing courses they enjoy and courses that have transferable skills, they will make very good grades. I want to tell you that if your child goes to the university in your garden and that child makes a 2-1 from whatsoever university, that child can pick up a job in any sector except the health sector. Even in the health sector, they can still pick a job. They may not be doctors, they may not pick up the job of a doctor or a nurse, but they can still pick up a job because we have what is known as graduate schemes. Take, for instance, you could have done a course like anthropology. Now, if you do anthropology, you are thinking now, oh, that child is going to work in the museum or is going to be excavating lost cities. No. If that child did anthropology and comes out with a 2-1, and the child decides that having done anthropology, I think it is going to be a boring lifestyle. No worries. Just ask. Now that you think it's a boring lifestyle, where do you want to work? The child is saying, no, I think I would like something that is retail, something that is sales. Then just type UK graduate jobs in retail and sales business. And you will see, I want to tell you that you can be working at Aldi. When our son graduated, initially he was looking, and that's one thing that you must make your young person to understand. Don't say that because you have read economics, you must work in a bank. Work in any sector that is close to what will give you fulfillment and success. So, he started applying for graduate schemes in all manner of places. And there was a job he applied for in Aldi. Our Aldi. I'm sure all of us, if you are in UK, you know Aldi. And the job, graduate scheme, was 43,000 per annum. They weren't asking whether you read economics, accounting, or finance. I have worked for 29 years. I want to tell you that if they give me 43,000 per annum, I will be happy. So what are we saying? Don't cage them. Let them spread their wings. Give them information. Don't worry. They might have made a wrong choice of discipline in the uni. Just make sure that in that choice, they are happy and they do well. By the time they spend that 3 years, they become independent. You won't believe, after 1 year, when our son and daughter came home, we could not recognize them. They were so confident. They were making decisions. Sometimes we want to do things. We are asking them. They are giving us solid financial advice. So leave them. Just leave them alone. Correct them. Advise them. If you're a Christian, pray for them. But let them go. And so once they are out of the uni, it doesn't matter what course they have done. As long as they have done the course well, they come out with a 2-1 or better. They are myriads of graduate schemes. So we are looking at how you can enter into that career path. So if you find out that you went into the uni to be a teacher, then you start applying or start doing work experience in that role. If you find out that what you went to study in the uni is not what you want to do, you start to look for graduate roles, internship, work experience, apprenticeship. And I tell you, it's an amazing way to start earning fat salaries. So what that means, because sometimes when, particularly we are from African background, if they are not lawyers or they are accountants, you think that they can. No, you can earn very big salary without doing, you can be in the finance sector without going through the stress of maths. Just find a graduate scheme that is in that environment and you can pick up a job. You need to be intentional. You need to be proactive. You need to be the kind of person, the kind of parent, the kind of young person that will say, you can apply. My own children, our children, they apply for hundreds of roles before they finally got what they were doing. Don't get tired. And finally, we want to look at, what if you want to change your mind? What if that young person, that your child, they have done, they choose their career path, they got into the right college, they got into the right uni, they even got into the right job. They have done the job for a couple of years. You know, life is evolving. Their relationship changes, their responsibility changes, their desire changes, their value changes, and they are saying, oh, I don't think I want to continue with this profession. What should they do? Then there's a chance to retrain, a chance to do professional courses, a chance to do apprenticeship in the area of their new interest, a chance to volunteer. And don't be the kind of parents that will tell that child or that young person or that young adult that, your mates, they are now directors. No, don't do that. Everybody's journey is different. That somebody started ahead of that child does not mean that person will be more successful than they have. So in the event that that young person wants to change their mind, change their course, change their career, there's always something to be done about that. I hope I've taken care of most of the three things that we started out with.
Wow. You've done justice to it, I'll say. You said so much that I can't. I was trying to think, what question do I ask? I need to ask a question. Well, I can't even find any question. Viewers out there, do you have any questions? If you have any questions, please write them. And if not, just say something. I can see there are 10 people online watching. It's time to just say, yes, thank you for this. I've learned from it, or maybe I haven't learned from it, or can you talk about this or about that? It would be nice to hear from you if you are not driving while you're listening, or if you're just seated in your sitting room, or if you're a child who thinks, oh, actually, I'm thinking of this question. What should I do about it? So thank you very much for throwing light. You said so many things. While we're waiting, I'll just try to recap on so many things you said. In fact, you said so much that I can't. On the chat is there saying ensure that a child is thriving in their own habitat. You know, you can't force a dolphin to thrive in the desert, or a lion in the sea, you know, things like that. And it was so relatable. And you also said that when building a house, you don't start from the roof, you start from the foundation. Yeah, that is extremely true. And he says we shouldn't wait till our child gets into nursery before you start educating them. Even from home, normally parents will go, oh, bedwetting, they want to make sure they're not using Pampers any longer. So that is education right from a very early age. So we shouldn't think that whatever we're doing, for those who have younger ones who haven't even started their education at all, whatever you're doing to help the child improve and progress is called education. You said have a trajectory for your child's life. Check the school league table for the school of your child. And you talk about the effort, achievement, and behavior on their reports, because someone said, so who was it that said the UK system is different? When you mentioned that, in the UK, everyone passes just next level. They take them just go. There's no, you repeat a class like in Nigeria, where people see some babas in the class. They didn't allow them going. They'll keep repeating that. Those people, it's written on their foreheads. God help mercy. I don't know any of them at the moment, but so things like that. That happens in other parts. I'm sure. I don't know. I think that's what happens in the US, but in the UK, everyone, you just take them all through. And someone was saying, "Oh, that's the UK system is different from the US system." Yes, the different types of secondary schools, We talked about the ability, the benchmark, and the career. So so many things you've said. I think we've stayed for so long. I really enjoyed that. I was looking at my time and thinking, am I saying correctly? Because it felt like we've been here for just a few minutes, and it's almost it's 1 hour 15 minutes. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And if there are questions people still have after watching this again, please don't hesitate to write your questions, and Mrs. Ajayi will be here to, answer those questions. If we have more than 5 questions after this, we may have to bring her back. Sorry, I hope you don't mind.
That would be a huge privilege. Thank you so much.
It would be nice to bring her back. If we have more than 5 or 10 questions, then we will bring her back to answer them. If not, we will just answer them. She'll answer them individually in the chat. So thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for all of your time. We really appreciate you. And God bless you, keep you fulfilled, give you every reason to be joyful and peaceful over yourself, over your children, in the name of Jesus. And the ministry He has committed into your hands shall flourish, shall blossom, and shall affect lives in this generation.
Amen.
Thank
you so much.
I love to the pastor and to the children who will be listening to it and thinking, I'm sure your children will be like, why is she always making me an example? That is the life of a minister, isn't it? We can only use our families as examples. And we thank God that you have good examples and good stories to share about them. God bless you, and more of such testimonies in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. God bless.
Amen. Thank you very much. So our viewers, it's time to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching, for taking this time to comment, to subscribe, to like, to share, because there are people who need this information. Some are not here now listening, but they might actually need them. They might have asked you questions about the UK system. Maybe they're just from abroad and they're just into this system where there's no exam, sometimes no homework, and you're thinking they're confused. This is the time to share this video with them and say, don't worry, I have someone who has dished it out from bottom to top, and you can learn from it. Any questions, write in the comment down below. Thank you for all the viewers online who have been watching. God bless you. Have a lovely day. It's sunny here in the UK. Enjoy your weather. Unfortunately, I spoke with someone in Australia who says it's winter time in Australia and it's flood time it's rainy in Nigeria. It's different things are happening in different places, but in all, we give thanks. So enjoy your day, whatever it is, and God bless you. So bye-bye. See you later.